Good morning, everybody. 8:10 a.m., September 22nd. Hope everybody had a good day yesterday. Had a decent day. Short of Microsoft, that worked out. Short of Crude, that worked out. One of the better days. So that's not bad to say. Hope everybody else had a decent day. Not sure who's with me, but whoever's with me, we need to do it. We'll go over it today. We'll say what I'm surprised about, what I'm not surprised about, and let's get into this. Welcome to my channel. My name's Steven Gonzalez. We use volume profile, market profile, gamma exposure level, supply and demand, the most traded price of the week, the month, the year, all for structure. Okay? All for structure. And this structure told me a huge move was coming based on that structure, right? And it happened. I'm not Nostradamus with the FOMC being the catalyst, but technically it's set up for the big move. So TA works with news, fundamentals. And when they line up together, you get a big move. And that's what we had happen. Okay? We had that happen. September's seasonally is usually bearish. That's coming to fruition as well. The Fed, higher for longer. People are maybe believing that now. Yields rising. All that's happening right now, right? So without further ado, of course, you could subscribe if you want. You could always give me a thumbs up if you like what you see. And as always, you can follow me on X at Gonzo719. And we're going to get right into the watch list. So why don't we do that? All right. So this morning, the leader is silver, up 1.09%. Crude, up 1%. Based on some Russian, I think, cuts or bans on oil. So that's lifted it a little bit. NASDAQ is up 0.55. Ether's up 0.5. Russell's up 0.37. ES up 0.33. Gold up 0.25. Dollar up 0.17. Dow's up 0.16. Bitcoin's up 0.13. Okay. 10-year yield is flat, but that should be slightly up because bonds are 30-year bonds are being sold slightly. Look at that VIX, down 3.42% to 16.94. Remember, 16 VIX equals a 1% move. 16 VIX equals a 1% move in the S&P. So we still have volatility. Okay, remember that. We still have volatility. All right, let's go over to the stocks I like to swing and day trade. All right. So BABA up 4.16%. That's on some IPO that's going to be introduced on the Hong Kong index. So they're liking that. Amazon's going to start doing ads in streaming. That's up 1.29%. Nvidia's up 1.25%. AMD's up 1.24%. Meta's up 1%. Okay, so those are the leaders. Is there a laggard? Not really. Okay. Boeing did get a downgrade. All right, so Boeing got a downgrade. It's only a 0.32. Okay. They did get a downgrade. Netflix got a price target lowered to 470. That's up 0.43. All right, that's been hit. That huge 400 level was taken. Okay. So Netflix has been weak with those operating margins being hurt by that. Okay, that's what's been going on there. What else? What else? What else? What else? That's all for that. All right, let's move on. Top sector stocks. All right, we got Exxon leading the pack, almost up 1%. Okay, I believe they got some price target raises as well. Roblox up 0.91, Qualcomm's up 0.78. No surprise there. Okay, no surprise there. Just to mention, CrowdStrike got a price target raise. Now, let's see here. Laggard. Really not really a laggard here. Now, if anybody else noticed this, United Healthcare had a huge day yesterday. Okay, I'm a proud owner. of that. So that had a monster move yesterday while this market was going down. It went up over 500 bucks. It's staying there right now. Um, so that was good for me, obviously, but and good for United Healthcare. And they got earnings coming up. All right. Little thing to note yesterday morning was I was talking to my friend Rosa, and I was telling her very interesting that my portfolio, all it's basically recession style portfolio right now, was all in the green. Okay. Now another thing I noticed this morning is Procter and Gamble got initiated coverage at a buy. Okay, that's obviously recessionary. Walmart initiated at a buy. So uh, those are some recession-proof things that just got upgrades. Now I'm not saying we're gonna go down more. I'm just saying that's interesting, right? That's interesting. And all right, so let's move over to sectors. Now Home Depot's taken a big steep too. That's if you look at that chart, it's kind of got hammered lately. So have to look at that. All right, I'm just trying to see all the news I covered. Okay, Roku got an upgrade. So Roku got an upgrade. All right, so that's those. Let's go to sectors. All right. So sectors, what do we got as a leader? Semis, no surprise there. Followed by energy, followed by communications, discretionary technology, the big boys. All right. The only laggards utilities. It's basically flat. Okay, basically flat. All right, let's go over to some news that I wanted to cover real quickly. Economic calendar. Let's look at that. Today, Fed Cook speech, 8:50 a.m. All right, now watch at 9:45. S&P Global Manufacturing, PMI, Services, and the Composite PMI all drop at 9:45 a.m. Just be careful if don't initiate a trade at 9:45 a.m. You're going to get a little bit of blip of volatility there. So I would stay away at 9:40. I have an alarm set that did not trade around that time. Okay, so that's what we're looking at there. Now, as far as other news, we got looks like the UK is going to approve the Activision Microsoft um, the purchase from Microsoft, purchasing Activision from Microsoft. I believe Activision's stock rose 1.8%. Now Ford stock fell 0.2 after the U.S. Auto Safety Regulator said they are investigating about 240,000 of the auto giant's 2022 EcoSport vehicles. Remember that strike? We got strikes still going on. Um, Alibaba, that's the rose 3.8% following a report that Chinese conglomerate's logistics arm, I don't know how to say that, Cainiao, is planning to file for a Hong Kong IPO as soon as next week. And here's the Roku stock rose after being upgraded. I told you about that. Okay, so that's going on there. The other news that I wanted to show you guys, that's very interesting. Now, anytime I see this, now I'm gonna specify this. Okay, anytime I see this, it's very interesting. The last time it said that record stock flows went into large cap equities, we sold off. So now this is what it said: 16.9 billion weekly outflows from stocks in the latest week, largest since December 2022. 2.5 billion inflows to bonds, 4.3 billion outflows from cash, 300 million outflow from gold, 1 trillion inflow to cash year to date. Investors cautious and paid to wait. 26 straight week of inflows to bonds. U.S. equities largest weekly outflow since September 22, 17.9 billion. 28th straight week of outflows from European equities. 147 billion inflows into U.S. Treasuries year to date. So interesting. Anytime you see those records, what I've noticed lately, you see a reversal. Okay. What else been happening? This Apple, Daniel Ives reiterated an outperform rating and 240 price target on Apple. Okay. Okay, that's really all I wanted to show for as far as the news. Okay, so that was news, and Um, let's go over to daily charts, which we are already there. All right, let's look at that SPY. All right, the one thing I wanted to know, we can go over a little bit later. Just remember what I said yesterday about Apple and that 175 level. Apple is above that level still, right now. It dropped below it yesterday, but it's above it. So Apple's bottoming, and I really like Apple, right, for right now because it's bottoming. Okay, that gamma level still hold, that flip point of 175 is still holding. Okay, that's a good gauge for the market. It's a good market in terms of just look at Apple. Okay, now let's look at SPY. All right, SPY did a little bit more than I thought it would yesterday because we opened here and then we kind of balanced around here, balanced for a long time. Price action was really kind of just not doing much, and then it broke. Boom! It went past last month's lows and closed below August lows. Okay, now it gapped. Look at that huge gap past the 100-day moving average, right? Remember. Now here's the flush, right? Where is it now? 433. We're right. This is where, okay, you flush past that last month's lows. Now you're above it, or you're right at it, right? 433. 433 is a huge level in the SPY. It's a big gamma level. Okay, so if you start to hold this level and maybe could take out yesterday's highs, go into this gap, we could then take maybe another move, a little pullback, and then it could be the move that fuels since seasonality into the end of the year. Remember, because of Apple. Okay, we just hit a very, very key level, 431.32. Now, if we hold above 433, like I said, just look out. Look out, right? Because seasonally, we usually rally into the end of the year. It doesn't happen every year, but that's the probability that usually does happen. Okay? All right, let's move on to the Qs. All right. Qs did not go to last month's lows. Okay? That did not go to last month's lows. All right? We kind of see this weekly low here. It kind of breached that low, closed under this weekly low here. Okay? So, stronger. All right? Now, where are we now? 360.31. 360.31. Right here. We're at the top of yesterday's range. We're right at the 100-day moving average. Okay? Defending this weekly support here. See what I'm saying? Defending this weekly support. Big gap here. Okay? Gaps usually get filled. I'm not saying this gets filled today. I'm just saying that the SPY really went down to a key level. Really went down there. Right now we're short-term oversold. Okay? I expect a bounce today, or at least to move sideways. Okay? We're a little oversold right now. Doesn't mean that we can't go lower. That's not a prediction. I'm just saying that's just how it works, right? Big candle, big candle, big candle. You're usually going to go sideways to up to get a little bounce. Okay? That's what usually is going to happen. All right, let's look at those yields. And that was our that was a review of the daily charts. Now we can go over to the triple-headed monster with the 10-year yield. Okay, that 10-year yield skyrocketed. Look at that, huge, went way up to 4.49. I think they said the highest since 2007. Above last month's high, holding, but it's selling a little bit. The 10-year yield is down 0.31. Okay, so let's see if it can hold up here. Now, if this thing keeps going higher, that is going to put a lot of pressure on tech stocks, especially tech stocks. Okay, it's going to be put a lot of pressure. But if it starts to retreat, and it keeps moving back down, stocks are going to most likely rally. Okay, now let's look at that VIX. Look at that candle yesterday. Boom, went all the way up to what it closed at. It closed at 17.54. We are coming back down. We're still above this 16.43. So we got our volatilities back. Like I said, a 16 VIX is a 1% expected move in the S&P. So we got our volatility is back. All right, VIX is not dead. It's alive right now. Remember, VIX is a month out of fear. That's what that signifies. A month out. All right, so let's go to the dollar. The dollar was ripping yesterday, ripping, but now it's getting sold into right now. Okay, that's some pretty nasty wicks there. Let's see if it can hold last week's highs right here and then can fall under it. Okay, let's see what that dollar can do. All right. Now let's move on to the volume market profile. Let's go over to that volume profile. All right, let's look at this together. All right, so let's look at this. Let's look at this together. All right, so here's our weekly profile. So you see how much volume was here, and then we got thin volume, and we got a little distribution here, a little distribution here, and a little bit of excess here. Okay, so this is the market's job. This is the market's job, okay? What it needs to do. Most traded price of the week is still up here, okay? What this market needs to do is it needs to either bring the most traded price of the week here or here, okay? If the most traded price of the week moves down to here or it moves to here, that's bearish, okay? Because volume has to follow price, okay? But if volume can't follow price, price is going to go back to volume and value. Okay, so if we can't establish volume here, what's the market going to do? It's going to go like this. It's going to go back to value. If it can't sustain it and accept prices lower, it's going to go right back. So let's see what the market does. Okay, key levels are still up here, 4,500. Okay, you see we went into demand yesterday. We closed in demand, and now look, we're starting to pull up from here. Okay, that's what's going on right now. We had single prints that were made yesterday. Okay, that is not very resistant. You can see the market is already rose above those single prints. Okay, so let's look at what we have here. We kind of have a weak low here. So overnight low usually goes lower than the RTH low. It's not secure. Usually you make a low again, but I'm not saying that happens today. Okay, that's one thing to note. Let's look at inventory. We opened here in the overnight. That's short activity. That's long activity. That's about 90% net long. 90% net long, and we're at the top of the range. Okay, so everyone is long. So you have supply here. Most traded price of yesterday here. Okay, that's probably a decent target for these longs. Okay, that is going on in the overnight right now. Let's look at the relationship yesterday. We have a big gap, right? So here's that gap, big gap. We opened here, barely filled anything, and then we just kind of hung out here, and then it broke, right? So 50% point of yesterday's move is 43.93. Okay, that's one. Okay, so these are just markers that you look at. So we have yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows, right? Overnight low, overnight high right now. Overnight high is almost at the midpoint of yesterday's range. Okay, so that's what we're looking at right now. So we're about in the middle of yesterday's range. All right, so just think about this. If yesterday's most traded price, which was about, what is that, 44, let's see, most traded price was 44.04, call it 44.05. Okay, that's the really where the line in the sand right now, right here. Now think about this. Most of those trades are probably short. So that's the line in the sand for today. So if we make it up here, you got supply. It's basically as simple as you can take this out. We maybe start trying to fill that gap. We hit the supply and we fail, then you probably go back down. Okay, that's really what I see, and that's the line in the sand. Okay, you do have the overnight's low is right here, happened to be the most traded price. Okay, so let's get into some scenarios here. Okay, really quick, pretty easy today. Alright, key is patience. Now remember, 100% net long right now. So you're getting liquidity from the lows right now is all long. Okay, so if you come into this area, right, these weak hands, these overnight longs, are going to want to take profit. Okay, so a couple things here. So we're coming off of big levels in the SPY like I showed you. Okay, we're a little oversold. So we're 100% net long. All right. So what you'd want to see right now is if you want to do some type of long, you'd want to see this come back into this demand or this demand. Try to make a low. Can't. Rip through those single prints. You can go right for the most traded price of yesterday and possibly go for the gap. Okay. That's if we get some weakness. Now, if we just push through, then you go to this key level. You have to break this supply and hold yesterday's most traded price, and then to possibly go, what do? Go up to yesterday's highs, start to fill that gap, and maybe go to the next supply. Okay. Now, if we're going to stay and say the bears are still strong, what we're going to do? Now, we can go down here, like I said, come back up into this supply, into the yesterday's most traded price, and start to get some weakness here. You start to get some lower highs. These overnight longs get weak, and you could possibly start to roll over. Okay. And maybe land back into this demand zone, possibly make the new RTH low, and then we probably either balance here. Okay, that's really the play. If this gets taken out, I wouldn't say a short would be great. All right, obviously if we go all the way up into the supply, maybe, but that's just what I'm seeing here. Okay, probably going to be the same in the Nasdaq, but let's check it out together. So here's the Nasdaq. Okay, we'll go over this. Okay, so profile, most traded price of the year, and the week right here. Okay, 154. Okay, got distribution, lot of little volume here, lot of little volume, distribution here, and then down, right? So yesterday, same thing. We came into a demand zone, we closed right here. Here's our activity, short to long, but we're in supply right now. That's the difference, right? Nasdaq is in supply right now. Nasdaq, where did it hit? Look at that. It hit the most traded price of yesterday right here. What the NASDAQ has to do, bring this most traded price down here. That will be more bearish. You bring the most traded price of the week down, and you build acceptance lower, you have a chance to go lower. If you can't, you're going to return back to value. Okay? That's how that works, just like the ES. Okay, just like the ES. So we got 100%, pretty much 100% net long, but now we're in supply. Okay, we're in supply. We do have our gap overhead. Let's look at yesterday's session. You got the highs, you got the lows. Made a new low in the overnight, usually not secure, but let's see, there's the overnight high. Basically above the midpoint, there's the midpoint of yesterday's range, so price is right there. Okay, so we're above that most traded price. Okay, you're above it. So, I mean, not most traded price, you're above the midpoint of yesterday. So we're in the middle of yesterday's session, above it. Not a lot of edge, okay, right there, not like the ES, okay. So most traded price of the overnight is right here. So now, just want to show you something. This profile is very balanced in the overnight. You got excess up here. So that's just a note. All right. Now, we kind of have a weakish low here. If that comes back down there, that could flush that out. Okay, so let's just, it's the same situation here with this supply in the most traded price. That's our line in the sand, which brings me to our scenarios, okay? Here's the scenario, it's the same. Same type of scenario, okay? So, if this market is going to do something, right? If it's going to do something, the key area is here. Supply, you need to take the supply out. You need to hold the most traded price of yesterday. The most traded price of yesterday was 149.72. Happens to be the overnight high. So this becomes a weak high right here. Because you have a shorts here, and it's the most trades that was transacted yesterday. Okay, so what you need to see is a push up. Okay, take out that supply. Even if you come back a little bit and you hold the most traded price of yesterday, you could start filling that gap going to the next supply zone. Okay, now I don't know if this happens today. I'd be, nothing shocks me really anymore. But then you have single prints all the way up to here. Now, of course, what could we do? You could come into the supply, get weakness, take out these single prints, hit this demand, boom, try to make a new low, and that could be the fuel as well. Okay? Now, bear scenario. Bear scenario, it's right here. You can't take this most traded price, you fall under, you take these single runs out, you maybe make that new low. Of course, you can come up into this supply, get weakness as well. That's really what I'm seeing today. Okay, I wouldn't say the short side is like you're going to get a monster move today. You could. It doesn't mean that. I just think the probability is lower. Okay. So, subscribe if you haven't, set an alert. That would mean a lot. Also, if you like what you saw, give me a like. Alright. As always, you can follow me on Twitter or X at Gonzo719. Alright, that's it. That's the plan. Hope everybody has a good weekend. Alright. Stay patient. 9:45, stay away. And I'll see everybody tomorrow.